Well, we're in the Olympics now. How's it going, guys? I'm Josh, and if you've been on the internet in the last 24 hours and you ride a skateboard, you probably know that skateboarding has been accepted into the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, even though many people are kind of against this. So there's been a lot of theorizing about what this is gonna mean, even though no one has any idea what this is gonna mean. So I'm gonna add to that, talk about what I think that's gonna lead to, and then go even further into the future and talk about what I think skateboarding will be like in the next 10 or 15 years. The first thing that needs to be established is the fact that skateboarding is a sport now. And people love to argue over whether skating is a sport or a hobby. And personally, I've always thought that's just like a dumb thing. It's just arguing over a word. And if it gets the point across, it's fine. But now that it's in the Olympics, it's safe to say that it's a sport. Anyway, jumping right in, number one, no, being in the Olympics will not ruin skateboarding. I saw a lot of crazy theorizing online about how it's gonna be the death of skateboarding as we know it, and that is just not true at all. Skateboarding was founded on a counterculture, and that counterculture is always gonna exist. There's plenty of room for the Nijas and the Chris Coles of the world to coexist with the David Gravettes and the Trump boys of the world. There are gonna be people whose moms and agents are running their social medias, and yes, Nija's mom does run his Instagram, and then dudes who don't even have an Instagram. This leads to number two, core skateboarding will always exist, and it's gonna be pushed by great companies like Polar Skateboards and Welcome, but I think the divide between core and contest is only gonna grow larger. Part of this is because contests will be harder to win, it'll require more time to train, you'll have to focus more on that, and maybe do less street skating. And also, I think this is pushed by brands. You'll notice brands like Nike and all the energy drink companies tend to sponsor dudes that do best in contests. And if you look at a street league contest, you'll see most of the guys are wearing Nike shoes and some sort of energy drink company logo on their chest or their hat. Gencom put out this article a while back where Ryan Lay talks about being kicked off of Huff because they didn't consider Welcome, his deck sponsor, a legitimate enough sponsor. And I think we're gonna see a lot more of that in the future. This isn't necessarily a divide between corporate and skater-owned companies because first of all, skater-owned is a bit of a gimmick, and more on that in another video, but there are brands like Adidas who are pushing to differentiate from Nike and be a little bit more core in the skateboarding world. So number three, as a result of this, is gonna be a new type of skateboarder being bred, and that is the ultimate contest skater. Now right now, we do call people contest skaters, but that term's a bit of an exaggeration because these guys are still dropping video parts and going out street skating all the time. We're gonna see people who take skateboarding way too seriously, constantly training, never going out street skating, and I'm not just talking about the pros. I'm talking about the dudes you're gonna see at your local skate park. They're gonna be dudes running the same lines over and over again, trying to perfect it and striving to meet Olympic standards, which will eventually be defined, and I guarantee you they're gonna be having a lot less fun than you and me. We'll see how the Olympics actually does their contests, but I expect them to be a lot less free-flowing and arbitrary than Tampa Pro, and more closely resembling Street League, with a very clear ranking system that makes it much easier for aspiring skateboarders to train and emulate. I'd expect them to involve the flashier types of skateboarding like the mega ramp and the vert ramp and maybe some street. That'd be really cool. I've said a lot of really negative, terrifying stuff so far, so now for something more positive. Number four, skateboarding is gonna gain some serious legitimacy, which means more skate parks built with more funding. Public opinion on skateboarding is gonna be much more positive, and this is already in the process of happening, but skaters are gonna be viewed more like sports players, athletes, and less like delinquents. On the other hand, will this make street skating easier with less kickouts? Absolutely not. Liability is still a thing, which is the main reason why people kick you out. They don't want you getting hurt on their property and suing them. Security guards may be more respectful when they're kicking you out, but if anything, they're gonna kick you out faster because I'm sure you've all heard that excuse of why don't you go skate at a public skate park nearby? Imagine if there's 4 times as many skate parks. I know. This is probably the one I'm most excited about. Number 5, skateboarding college scholarships are definitely going to be a thing. When I applied to college 3 years ago, I definitely looked around and couldn't really find anything, but I guarantee you in a couple years, that's gonna change. With scholarships comes support from your high school, and in the same way that right now you're able to borrow equipment from your school, like pads to play football, maybe you'll be able to borrow equipment from your school for skateboarding, like decks and bearings. Realistically, it'll depend on the school and how much funding they'll get. Some schools will have brand new skateboards for anyone that wants to try skating. Some will have old used decks that haven't been snapped yet. Depends what kind of school district you live in. Also, school skate teams will definitely be a thing. And again, this is very far down the line, but I could definitely see this all happening. Now for one that's equally as exciting as it is terrifying, number 6 is gonna be a new wave of talent in skateboarding. Basketball is one of those sports where everyone tries it, and those who are really good at it and physically apt for it, tall, skinny, fast, are gonna continue to play. So you're getting the best most physically capable people playing the sport. Right now in skating, only a select group of kids are drawn to it, and only a select group within that select group continue because they're masochistic enough and like the individualistic aspect of it enough to want to keep doing it. But now imagine if every kid ever tried skating. There'd be a specific body type that rises to the top, and there'd also be a level of athleticism that's taken to the sport. So imagine all the kids who spend all that time weightlifting and training for their other sports. If they apply that to skating, we'd be seeing faster flips and spins, higher ollies, better balance, and ultimately a higher level of skateboarding that we've never seen before. It'd be incredible. This one's a little personal for me that I'm very excited about. Number 7, helmets are going to become commonplace. Safety is going to become a huge thing in skateboarding as it becomes a little bit more mainstream, just so everyone can get more into it. And it's going to start with helmets and maybe even move on to pads. I don't know about pads, but definitely helmets. There's a couple things that'll start this trend. If schools are adding skateboarding to their physical education curriculum, helmets will definitely be required, and that's gonna become commonplace. And also, all these kids who normally would do other sports and wanna stay safe are definitely gonna wear helmets. I mean, think about how in other sports, it's actually strange not to wear a helmet. In longboarding, in football, I mean, in most other sports, you wear a helmet. And it's just a matter of time as skateboarding becomes more mainstream, where helmets will become a reasonable choice. I mean, they're already reasonable, it's just not a popular thing to wear. Second, and this is gonna sound really morbid, and I really hope that I'm not right on this one, but I would expect that a high-profile skateboarder, a pro, is gonna die from a head injury, and that's gonna instantly start a serious helmet-wearing trend. And I really hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. But I could see that happening for sure. On a more positive note, number 8, money is gonna pour into skateboarding from all the bigger brands, and salaries for pro and amp skaters are gonna rise up like crazy. Now, this is a trend that's already happening, but salaries are gonna continue to get higher and higher to the point at which the top pros are being paid in the same way that top NFL and NBA players are being paid. I'm talking tens and tens of millions of dollars, maybe hundreds of millions. That might be a stretch, I don't know. Now, a downside to this is it's gonna be a blow to independent core skateboarding because it's gonna be much harder to start a brand. As these big companies get bigger and bigger, they're gonna be able to offer lower prices and higher quality that small independent brands won't be able to offer for the same price point, making it much harder to start a brand. They'll have to charge more for their decks and shoes, and that's sort of what's already happening in the skate industry with some of these new shoe companies, but that'll only get worse as time goes on. Number 9, skateboarding in the Olympics could be really awesome to watch. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about how lame it's gonna be, how kooky and how awful, but the fact of the matter is no one has any idea what the format's gonna be, and it could be really, really tight. I imagine it'll be like Street League in the sense that some aspects of it are kind of lame, and if you think about it, you get bummed out. But the fact of the matter is, as you're watching it, you're at the edge of your seat having a great time, and it's really entertaining to watch. And also, just imagine all of your favorite pro skaters in jerseys or matching spandex, and ridiculous. That could definitely happen. Hopefully, jerseys and not spandex, but we'll see. And number 10, the most important thing to remember is that skating is always going to be really, really rad, okay? No matter how much happens with skateboarding in the Olympics and how kooky it gets, that's gonna be its totally own thing, and there's gonna be plenty of room for dudes like Rowan Zarilla and the Shep Dogs, which is a relief because those dudes are really fun to watch. To wrap all this up in one sentence, parts of skateboarding are gonna get really kooky and bizarre, but you'll always be able to ignore all that and just go and do some dumb tricks on a curb with your friends, and you have nothing to worry about unless you're trying to make it on Team USA, in which case you better start training. Before I made this video, I posted on Instagram asking what you guys thought of this, and I borrowed some of your opinions because you guys had some really great stuff to say. A few things that I borrowed. Brownie Bruh brought up the point that it's gonna be really weird seeing my favorite skaters in jerseys. Liam TK mentioned depending on how they go around judging it, which is a really important thing, and he prompted me to think about all that. So thank you to Liam for that. And the best one of all is Jacob Fisher 182. It would be cooler if vaping was in the Olympics. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for that, Jacob. Think of this video as a time capsule. I'll probably be wrong about a lot of stuff, but I guarantee you I'll be right about at least a couple of things. And I'm looking forward to watching this video in 10 years. Actually, remind me in 10 years, watch Skateboarding in the Olympics video.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Leave a comment down below letting me know what you think skateboarding will be like in the future and what you think of it being in the Olympics. And I really look forward to reading these, responding to them, and trying to get a good dialogue going in the comments. I also hope that if there's enough stuff to talk about, we can turn it into a sequel video because skateboarding and future are two really cool things to talk about. If you want to see another one of my videos, Day in Life 33, a jump on a handrail, it's a really good time. And that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you eventually. Also, Team USA.